Good evening, everyone. I hope I'm audible. Please confirm with yes or no in the chat box. We'll be starting the webinar in another 5 minutes. And to Shubhat saying yes, thank you. We'll be starting the webinar in another 5 minutes. And to Shubhat. While we are waiting for kick off the webinar, I would like to know which majority of the audience are from finance or tax end. So you can confirm in the chat box. The audience are from finance or tax background. While we all know what today's topic is, I would like to know what it is that audience is expecting from today's webinar. We would like to see some responses in the comments. Please type in the chat box. Yes, thank you, Anto Subha. I would like to know what you are expecting from the webinar. You can, or else if you have any questions or queries that you want to know more about the topic, you can type in the chat box or the Q&A session. We can see good number of participations attending the webinar. Mr. Anand Jayarajan, if you have any questions, you can type in the chat box. If you want to talk directly to the sir, we will allow you in the end of the webinar in the Q&A session. Mr. Anand Jayarajan, you can type in the chat box if you want to ask any questions. We will be starting the webinar in another 5 minutes. I can also see so many repeated customers, repeated participants for our webinar. I would also like to know if anyone is attending this webinar in the new way, because we have already made this series in the previous webinars. If anyone joining new to this webinar, you can just type in the chat box so that we can share you the previous webinar modules that we have been recording. Just type a message in the chat box that if anyone attending this webinar for the first time. Okay, welcome Ms. Mahima Sharma, Shati V. We will reach out to you and we will share you all the webinar recordings, the previous recordings. If anyone wants to get all the previous recordings, because we have been running this GST webinar from long back, we have recorded all these valuable webinar modules in our software. We will be sending you all the modules to you. Okay, Mr. Anto Subat was asking, want to know, understand what all the benefits there 100%. Okay, we'll discuss that, Anto Subat. Good evening, Mr. Nishigant Redkar. Yes, Mr. Silva Kumar, we will provide you all the recordings, previous recordings. You can also always find these recordings in our YouTube channel. It was named with WebSol. Also, we will send, if you want, if you're looking for only GST related, I will send you through the email. Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Pawan Kumar Sahu. I handle product marketing at WebSol. I'll be your moderator for the day. Before we head into the webinar, I would like to give you a small introduction of our company that I represent. I will try to keep it short. Okay, WebSol is in fact the part of Wipro back in the days. We were in fact the printer manufacturing division of Wipro, and we are specialized in dot matrix printer category. Thank you, Mr. Natarajan. Yes, I think I was on mute at that time. So WebSol is in fact the part of Wipro back in the days. We were in fact the printer manufacturing division of Wipro. We are part of the Wipro, but we are specialized in dot matrix printer. Over the years, the company decided to step out of Wipro and form a separate entity itself in the name of Web Solutions. Our signature offering includes managed print services carried by over 2 decades with evolving needs and changing market trends. And we decided to bring digital workplace solutions to our portfolio. With this new edition, we have also expanded our product and services portfolio to cater to mass market. Over the years, we have also collaborated with market giants like Ricoh, Fujifilm. You may know all these market giants who are in printer business. I would also like to highlight few milestones in our journey that we underwent a complete brand refresh and transformation with a new name, new brand guidelines, new design with the name of WebSol. So I'll be taking you to the next slide where we talk some of the highlights of our company. We are coming up with 20 years of industry experience, and we have over 500 plus enterprise customers, and we are present in 2000 plus locations in overall India. And in fact, we have awarded as DMS Solution Company of the Year in 2022 by CIO Outlook. You can see some of the trusted clients who are very big in the industry, including Tata Capital, Wipro, Metro, HDFC, etc. So we are coming up with a whole idea of FluidWorks. FluidWorks includes Fluid Pro, Fluid Print, Fluid Map, and Fluid Trail. We'll discuss about this in the next slides. We have this idea of FluidWorks, which we come up with concept called the digital workplace, which we can work anywhere, any place, any device. Because we are in after COVID, very used to the we are very used to the online work. So we are releasing those kind of solutions for you. FluidWorks includes all intelligent workplace solutions. Fluid Pro is a managed IT services provider. Fluid Print is our managed print services offering, which we give you the printing solutions for the print per basis offer. We deploy all the printers. If you have multiple locations operations in different locations, we can deploy printers for you, and we'll charge for the print per pay basis. Fluid Map, Fluid Map is one of the IT asset management solution. It can be used in Fluid Print also, where we can track your usage of your printers, the cartridge levels, the time of being used. All these things can be possible with the Fluid Map. Fluid Trail is one of the offering that we are providing for organizations for managing their core operations, which are operating manually. We can automate all their procedures by digitalizing their operations. And coming to Flowtax, Flowtax is managed GST solutions. We provide a software solution for you so that you can file your GSTs, e-invoice, e-way bill all at one place by using Flowtax. We'll discuss more about this Flowtax in the demo that we are offering. It's a free demo. If someone wants to know more about our offering, because most of the people are from the finance background, so if anyone wants to know more about the Flowtax, they can. I have launched a poll. They can click on yes, so that we will reach out to you and we'll give you a free demo. As I mentioned, Flowtax is a platform which can be used for organizations for the GST solutions, invoice, e-way bill. Everything can be automated at one place, and they can manage high volume transactions compared to the existing GST portal. We provide you can file higher bulk uploading of the GSTs, handling higher volume of transactions. Everything can be done in a Flowtax. Thank you. I can see so many responses for yes. It's a free demo, so we will reach out to you after the webinar. Okay. Thank you, audience. Coming to the webinar, we have Mr. Akella Prakash Rao, sir. You may already know about the sir. He has been giving demos from last 2 years with WebSol. He has been working in tax expert in different companies. Sir, over to you, sir.
Thanks, Pawan. I think there is some difficulty in the audio for the audience when Pawan is speaking. Could be because of some internet problem. So I hope that I am audible. Just in case if anybody is not able to listen to what I am saying, that please type in the message so that I will be alert, and then maybe that if there is any kind of a problem in the systems and all, we can check at our end. Hope that I am audible now. Yeah, thanks. Thanks for the confirmation. Pawan, we'll
Yes,
go to
sir.
the agenda.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. See what the kinds of refunds, what is the concept of export of services? Already somebody had questioned it, and the legal provisions of withholding, legal provisions for the relevant date and procedure for refund, and some important points and what are the settled case laws we will discuss, and then I'll take the questions. Questions need not be for this only, but it can be from any. But preferably that relating to the topic that I will be taking up in front first, and after that I'll answer all your questions. My request to you is that if you got any questions already, then please type them in the Q&A box rather than in the chat, so that it will be there in one place, so that I can take it up at the end of my session. See, this is a series of webinars that we have planned on the refunds aspect, because that there are various kinds of refunds, and each takes its own time, and each has got its own flavor to it. That is the reason that we could not club everything into one session as far as this refund topic is concerned. So already that I have covered a general topic about the refunds in the past, and after that I have taken up the refund on payment of IGST under the claim of rebate. Now, what remains there is the LUT refund for the goods, and of course, for the services now that I am taking up today. So, which broadly covers all kinds of the refunds in relation to the services, because services has got a unique position in the GST as far as export of services is concerned. So, I thought that it will be apt that we discuss it separately. That is the reason today's session. And thanks that you people have taken time out of your busy schedules, because I know it that today is a 3B filing deadline for the month of July. So you must be worrying about your filings and all. But despite of that, you could take time out of your schedules to attend this session, which is most welcome. As promised by Pawan, that my previous sessions are available in the WebSolve webpage. So if anybody is interested, that they can go through that, and some of them are uploaded in the YouTube also, so that you can download by typing my name or WebSolve, that you will get all this. So you can go through it. Any questions at any point of a time, you are most welcome. Next slide, please, Pawan. Yeah. What are the different kinds of refunds? This is broadly discussed in section 54 of the CGST Act, that refund is available on the zero rated supplies, which includes the exports not having the export duty leviable on them without payment of a tax, and a refund of tax paid on the export of supplies on payment of tax, and the refund of unutilized ITC on account of supplies made to SEZ units and developers without payment and with payment also, and the refund of unutilized ITC on account of accumulation due to inverted tax structure. This is applicable only in the case of goods, not for services. And then refund to supplier of tax paid on deemed export supplies, and refund to the recipient of tax paid on deemed export supplies under notification 49 of 2017. And next slide, please. I'll be little fast in going through all this, because this PPT is going to be shared with all of you. So there is nothing to learn, that there are various kinds of refunds which you can glance it at your leisure. But whatever point needs elaboration, there that I will definitely pause and give my explanation also. So kindly bear with that. And a refund of excess balance in the electronic cash ledger, a refund of excess payment of tax under section 7610, and refund of tax are paid on the intrastate supply, which is subsequently held to be interstate supply, and vice versa under section 77, and the refund on account of assessment or provisional assessment appeal or any other order, and refund on account of any other ground or reason, And then refund as per section 54(2) of the CGST Act of tax paid on inward supplies of goods or services are both by UNO, etc. organizations notified under section 55, and refund on cancellation of tax invoice or bill of supply and return of goods purchased for checking the issuance of tax invoices by the officers nominated by the commissioner as provided under section 67(12) of the CGST Act 2017. So there are 14 kinds of refunds in GST. The point that I'm driving at home, that there are 14 kinds of refunds and each is a different animal to tame with. So today we are taking up the topic of refund on export of services. Next slide, please. So yeah, somebody had already queried that he wanted to know what is export of services. So export of services has got a different meaning given. So the definition is under section 2(6) of the IGST Act, where it means that when the supplier of service is located in India, recipient of service is located outside India, place of supply of services is outside India, payment for such service has been received by the supplier of service in convertible foreign exchange or in Indian rupees wherever permitted by the RBI, and the supplier of service and the recipient of service are not merely establishment of a distinct person in accordance with explanation 1 in section 8. Each of these 5 limbs are unique in the way that they were worded. Supplier of services located in India, yes, there will be no problem for you that the person is going to render the services from India. So I don't think that there will be much of discussion about it. But the recipient of services located outside India is a debatable issue, wherein that you need to be absolutely clear where is the place of receipt. And then place of supply of services outside India should emanate out of the place of supply rules. Under the erstwhile service tax law also, we have got a codified rules that when a place, what will be the place of supply of services. Similarly, the same things were copy pasted with minor modifications in the GST law also. So this place of supply of services should be outside India as per those conditions. And then the payment for such services is received by the supplier in convertible foreign exchange. So this convertible foreign exchange of late is now relaxing to that you can receive the export proceeds in Indian rupees also, but it should be permitted by the RBI. So there is a separate notification where in all cases that Indian rupee is also permitted as an export proceed. So if subject to those conditions, even INR also you can accept it, and it will be deemed as an export only. And the supplier of service and the recipient of service are not merely establishments of a distinct person in accordance with explanation 1 in section 8. This is the most contentious issue as far as export of services is concerned by all the IT companies, because what happens, behemoths like Cognizant, Infosys, TCS, or Wipro, HCL, such kind of a companies have got their own offices in several of the countries across the globe. So when there are crisscross of services which are happening between these entities, then whether such a service is going to be treated as an export or not, and are these establishments merely establishments of a distinct person or that they are actually distinct, is something which is debatable issue. And in this relation, the CBIC has issued certain guidelines, but still the court cases are happening. Maybe that you might have come across some interesting news clips in the recent past, wherein a big IT company has received a notice from the jurisdictional SGST officers. Later, when the DGTA has stepped in, then the SGST officers have withdrawn their notices, and subsequently DGGA has issued some pre-consultation notices and all that. And for certain period that they have again gone back on their thing, and for the other years that they said that it is under scrutiny. So all these kind of things are happening. It is because of either could be lack of understanding by the field officers, or that there is no clarity in the instructions that these guys are receiving it. Uh, there is a concern by Anil that he cannot hear. So hope that now I am audible. Yeah, thank you. So these are the things that are happening. So one needs to be very clear that when it is going to be export of services, these five limbs are always to be kept in mind. But each of them has got its own history. So one needs to go through it and understand it in the right perspective in order to understand what will be export of services. Services are exported only and only when you receive the forex consideration. If the goods are there, if they are put on board the conveyance, it can be aircraft or a ship, but the minute it is handed over to the customs and customs has cleared it, then it is exported. But as far as goods are concerned, goods are deemed as exported only and only when you receive the forex consideration. Otherwise, not. So, this is very significant difference between the concept of export in goods and the concept of export in services. That one needs to keep it in mind. Next slide, please. Yeah. So, here, what is zero rated supply has been defined under section 60. So supply of goods to outside India, to SEZ units, and things like that, these definitions one can go through. So the government can also put conditions, safeguards, and procedures that this export of zero-rated supplies applies to which class of persons, or which class of goods, or which class of services, things like that. So government has got its own powers to regulate this entire zero rated supply concept. Next slide, please.
Can we launch a poll, sir?
Let us go to the next slide and complete this topic so that I'll give you the time.
Okay, sir.
So there are certain other concepts like who is an intermediary, because this is what is the most important thing, that he is a broker or an agent or any other person by whatever name called, who arranges or facilitates the supply of goods or services or both or securities between two or more persons, but does not include a person who supplies such goods or services or both or securities on his own account. So these are some of the things that one needs to keep it in mind. Similarly, location of the recipient of services. This is also one of the important concept. And similarly, location of supplier of services is another important concept. I am not elaborating all these concepts for the reason that it will simply eat away our time. So you can, at your leisure, can go through this. Any queries, please put in the Q&A box rather than in the chat, sir. I will definitely take those in the chat box also, but the preferable place for Q&A is in the Q&A section only. And Pawan, we'll go to the next slide, please.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, Pawan, you can launch a poll, and after that, I will take up this other topic.
Yes, sir. Audience, I want to launch a poll related to the topic. You can see a poll question on the screen. Which of the following conditions must be fulfilled for a service to qualify as export of services under GST? The supplier of service is located outside India. The place of supply of service outside India. The payment for such service has been received in India. The recipient of service is located in India. Please type your answers in the chat box, in the question, poll box. Also, if anyone wants to ask any questions or else if directly want to interact with the sir, they can ask their questions in Q&A session, Q&A box, so that we'll take all the questions in the end of the webinar. I can see most of the audience are giving correct answers. We will be ending this poll in another 5 seconds. Thank you, audience.
Yeah. As far as this particular query is concerned, most of you have got it right. But the supplier of services is located outside India is not an export. Similarly, the recipient of services located in India is also not an export. But certainly the contentious issue could be the payment of such services is received in India is partially correct only. Yeah. So we'll end the poll, and coming to the presentation again, that there are occasions when this refund can be withheld by the authorities. So those are detailed in section 5410, and then under 5411, the order has to be issued. So there are reasons why that the refund is going to be withheld, because some people are facing the problem that their refund has not granted, though that they have filed it. So in all such cases, that they have to make sure that whether this particular thing is applicable or not. Next slide, please. Power, next slide. Yeah. So withholding of refund for casual taxable persons or non-resident taxable persons, that the withholding can happen even in the case of non-resident taxable persons also. Very recently that this concept is emerging, but still it has not yet been enabled in the portal and all that, that the foreign dignitaries who come into India and make some GST purchases while leaving, that they can also claim refund. But what are the circumstances under which that such a refunds can be withheld and all, that there are ample legal provisions in the law. Next slide, please. Yeah. Why the relevant date is going to be an important thing that one needs to understand. Because in case the goods are exported out of India, where a refund of tax is paid is available in respect of goods themselves, or as the case may be, the inputs and our input services used in such goods. If the goods are exported by sea or air, the date on which the ship or aircraft in which the goods are located leaves India. If the goods are exported by land, the date on which such goods pass the frontiers. If the goods are exported by post, the date of dispatch of the goods by the post office concerned. In the case of supply of goods regarded as deemed exports, where a refund of tax paid is available in respect of the goods, the date on which the return relating to such deemed export is furnished. But in case of zero-rated supply of goods or services or both to an SEZ unit, there the refund of tax paid is available in respect of such supplies themselves, or as the case may be, the inputs or input services used in such supplies, due date for furnishing of the return is the due date. So the relevant date has been explained in different scenarios under this particular section. So one can go through it, and if there are any doubts, we can certainly discuss. Next slide, please. So, as in any other case, inputs or input services used in such services, the date of receipt of payment in convertible foreign exchange or Indian rupees, wherever permitted by the RBA, where the supply of services has been completed prior to receipt of such payment, or the issue of invoice where payment for services had been received in advance prior to the date of issue of invoice. So, this is what is relevant in the case of export of services. In case where the tax becomes refundable as a consequence of judgment, then the date of judgment. In case of refund of unutilized input tax credit, then what are the due date for furnishing the return. So there are various scenarios, but what is relevant for us is there in bullet C. Next slide, please. Yeah. What is the procedure? So this has been explained in the previous webinars also, but for you to have a complete document with you as far as export of refunds is concerned, I'm reproducing. That is the reason I'm not spending too much of a time. Kindly bear with me on that aspect. The refund needs to be filed within 2 years from the relevant date. What is the relevant date has already been explained, and it is a completely online filing procedure. If anybody is under the impression that he had submitted the documents to the authorities and he did not receive any kind of an acknowledgement, now the authorities are saying the refund cannot be given because there is no refund pending in the GST portal for you, then it is your ignorance. Kindly make note that the entire refund process for goods or services is completely online. Whether it is the period of COVID or not, but the fact of the matter is that it is always right from 1st July 2017, it is an online process only. So online in the system that you have to select the refund option, then you have to go through the system, takes you to the next steps, and you have to complete all that. Then automatically the acknowledgement will be issued to you by the portal only, and it will be pending in the officer's desk, which he has to process it. and grant it to you or refuse it to you or raise any queries and all that. But if you thought that it is a old manual process of giving papers to them and there that you did not get the refund and all, then it is your ignorance which is leading to this kind of a problem. So you have to keep that in mind. And the last bullet in this particular slide, it is important for you because there are two circulars which are issued in 2018 and subsequently in 2021, where several of the points relating to refunds were clarified by the CBIC. If any contentious issues are there, certainly we can address them, but I do not want to take you to the entire draft of the circular. You may please take time. Next slide, please. Yeah. What is the procedure for refund? That there are these many documents are there. Provisional refund, refund payment order, final refund sanction order, withholding order, show cause notice. Everything is in a different formats. RFD 0, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Like that. There are several kinds of formats in which that you will get the intimations. So depending on that particular form that you know it, what is the status of your refund and all. So you need to keep that in mind. And one other important thing, what you have to keep it in mind is there is a 6% mandatory interest applicable for the delayed refund. So in case you have filed the refund and after that the authorities did not process it for a substantially long period, then certainly that you stand to get 6% interest, mandatory interest. You need not ask for the interest while filing your refund. But if the authorities delayed beyond the stipulated time, that they were the time limit given is for them is 90 days. So beyond 90 days, when the authorities delay, then certainly you will be able to get the 6% interest on that. So that you can keep it in mind. Next slide, please. So there are some important points which you need to take note of. Section 54 talks about the unjust enrichment. In the erstwhile tax regime also that you might have heard about this unjust enrichment. That means to say when you are claiming a refund from the government, it is such that the tax incidence is there on you either in the form of input tax credit or that you have paid the output tax on your export. So hence you are going to the department revenue and then you are asking for a refund of that amount. But if you have already passed on your tax burden on to your customer and you have collected the money and subsequently you are going to the department also and asking for a refund of the same money, then it is a double whammy in your case. That is what is unjust enrichment. So you have to be very careful while pricing your product also that the tax incidence is not creeping into your cost structure so that you can overcome this unjust enrichment in the case of a refund. Similarly, that 54(4)(b) of the CGST Act permits you for filing no documentary evidence in the case of refund being less than 2 lakhs. So if there is any kind of a refund for which that the amount of a refund involved is just 2 lakhs and below, then you need not file elaborate documentation and all that. So it has to be granted by the authorities. Similarly, there is another section which permits that the minute you file any refund, then 90% of the claim has to be settled on a provisional basis immediately and the balance after the due scrutiny audit and all that. And if the amount is less than 1,000 rupees, then no refund will be granted. And already I told you that there is a 6% interest beyond the 60 days when the refund is due. But this is something which you need not ask for. But in most of the cases, when the refund is delayed beyond the 60 days period, the authorities will insist that you are ready to forego the interest of 6%. They will force you to sign a paper and give it to them so that they need not bother to pay the mandatory interest on the delayed refund to you. But don't ever fall prey to such kind of things. And then 57 creates the consumer welfare fund. So whenever that it is established on paper that the refund is hit by the unjust enrichment, then such amount will be credited to the consumer welfare fund. And there is a elaborate procedure how the consumer welfare fund is to be administered, and how the amounts in the consumer welfare fund are to be put to use for the welfare of the consumers, etc., is there. And Section 7310 prescribes an outer limit of 3 years for recovery of erroneous refund. But unfortunately, when there is an amendment due to the corona and its after effects, on the timelines for issuance of the show cause notice, the authorities have made amendments to Section 73, wherein now that they are saying that even the refunds can also be recovered beyond 3 years period. But unfortunately, the point that they are missing here is this particular 73 subsection 10 was never amended till date. It stands. But unfortunately, that the authorities are taking advantage. But if there is any kind of a recovery notice beyond 3 years, in the case of the refund already granted to you, I think certainly that you can go back to the language of the law, and then you can fight your case, and you stand to stand on a good ground to win the case in the court. And Section 7510 prescribes 5 years from the date of erroneous refund for grant of order in the case of mens rea. So if there is an intention, and with that intentions only that you have filed a refund which you have got it, then it is established that you have got a bad intention in order to gain the benefit. Certainly the 5 years time period is given for the revenue to proceed for the recovery of such a refund. Pawan, would you like to launch any poll now at this stage?
Yes, sir. I'll launch one.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Audience, I'm launching a poll related to GST topic. The poll is on the screen. What is the time limit for claiming a refund on export of services under GST? 1 year from the date of export, 2 years from the date of export, 3 years from the date of export, 6 months from the date of export. Please type your answers in the poll box. Also, if anyone wants to ask any questions to the sir about the topic or any GST related queries, you can type your questions in the Q&A box so that we'll have a dedicated Q&A session. We will take all your queries, questions in that session. Okay, we can see good response for the question. I'll be ending the poll in another 5 seconds. Please select your answer in the poll box, audience.
It's good to see most of you have given the correct answer, that it is 2 years from the relevant date. Not
Yes,
from
sir.
the date of export, but relevant date. What is the relevant date that I have elaborately discussed earlier? So we can refer to that. Next slide, please.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Section 122 prescribes a penalty of 10,000 or the refund claimed fraudulently, whichever is higher. And Section 132 prescribes punishment depending on the amount of erroneous refund in case of fraud. Section 170 talks about rounding of provision for grant of a refund. And refund can be claimed only by the registered person, but during the suspension of a registration, no refund can be granted. And the amount of refund claimed of unutilized input tax credit gets debited from the electronic credit ledger as per rule 86.3. That you need to keep it in mind. That is the reason I told you that a refund is never manual. It is always online, because electronic credit ledger is maintained in the system. So if you are saying that you have filed a refund, then invariably that you must debit this particular electronic credit ledger for the amount of refund. Then only the refund gets processed. And similarly, Circular 188 details the procedure in the case of refund filed by the unregistered persons, where the contract or agreement for supply of services of construction of flat or building has been cancelled, or where long-term insurance policy has been terminated. This is a very specialized case, because just 2 bullet points before I told you that the refund can be claimed only by the registered person, but because of some exigencies where the building contract has been cancelled or some insurance policy has been terminated, so in all such cases, at the receiving end, you will be having an unregistered person. So in such a case, by citing the above rule, that we cannot say that refund cannot be granted to a unregistered person, the government has brought in special provisions wherein unregistered persons belonging to these two categories, where that the contract of construction of a flat has been terminated for such consumers, and similarly the term insurance policy has been terminated. In all such cases, to such customers, the refund provisions are enabled by the circular 188. So one can refer to that. Next slide, please. Some of the settled case laws, this famous case law, the VKC footsteps. Actually, this case was fought in the court of Gujarat, wherein Gujarat High Court has given a decision, and then on the similar facts, in the case of Transnational Troy, Afghan's joint ventures, the Chennai High Court has given a diametrically opposite decision. So the matter went up to the Supreme Court, and in the Supreme Court, has clearly given the direction that how the refund is to be processed. But a very significant thing, what we need to understand in this particular context is that a suggestion has been made by one of the pleading counsels, Mr. Natarajan of Chennai, wherein that he pointed out the flaw that input services are never counted while granting the refund. So Supreme Court has directed the CBIC to consider the input services also for granting of the refund, and subsequently CBIC has made good of this particular drafting error, and now the on input services also the refund is being granted. And of course that there is a lot of controversy on the subject of intermediary services. As I told you, this is being fought mostly in the case of IT companies. And then there is a controversy regarding the shared services on the Northern Operating Systems case, and the Supreme Court decision has been taken literally by the revenue in order to implement it across the board in respect of the expat services, that when the expat employees are coming and serving in India, whether any GST is applicable or not on such a case, or whether it should be treated as export of services. So that controversy is also there. And similarly, the Karnataka's contribution to the GST litigation, that it has emanated out of the AR decision initially, the famous Columbia Asia matter, wherein whether the employees of head office, when they are also taking care of the works relating to the branch offices and all, whether there is any kind of a service. And similarly, all the C-suite employees like CFO, CTO, or the CEO or MD, when he is taking care of a multi-branch company, then how his services are to be apportioned in GST in order to subject them to the tax levy. So these matters are currently pending in the Supreme Court. We got to see what will be the outcome of those decisions in order to firm up the positions at our end. But till that time, yes, frivolous show cause notices may fly around, that we have to face them. There's no other go. Yeah, this is all about, I think, the settled case laws. So in nutshell, I have covered the entire session on export of services. I am open for the questions now.
This is the time you can ask your questions in the chat box or Q&A.
Yeah. Now, whatever is the queries, I think in the chat box, that now the queries have moved to the Q&A. So in the Q&A, I am addressing this. Mr. Yes. Suresh has raised a query that they have done export of software services to outside India in 2017-18. At that time, they were supposed to pay the GST and claim a refund. So the next month through refund filing, we did pay this for 12 months. The authorities are insistent that we have to file in paper to the concerned circle in 20. When we followed it up as a refund was not given, we did so, but the office was not manned adequately due to the pandemic, but never acknowledged us. The authorities never rejected our claim and date. We have received the forex. We are in the state of Kerala. What is the escalation, and should we file a legal case? That is what is his question. I have understood the whole thing, but what I am not able to understand is it the case that they have filed it only manually, Have they not filed it online? If they have made the payment, IGST payment and all, then to that extent, the evidence is already there in the system. So why the refund is not being given? That one needs to understand. So if Suresh is there, it will help that if he can explain the case better, so that I will be able to answer it. He said that he has filed it online. So if he is having an online acknowledgement, then how the authorities can say that we don't have, they never acknowledged us. If it is an online, then immediately the acknowledgement is generated in the system itself. So you can't say that you don't have a acknowledgement. For manual, they might not have given an acknowledgement, I do not know. But for online, acknowledgement gets generated immediately. No, there is no confusion, sir. The system is working right from 1/7/2017. Absolutely, there is no confusion at all. If your submissions are there online, then the digital evidence of such submissions will be available. So, do you have it? You can come online. We can discuss, sir. Pawan, you can unmute him so that he can talk.
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, I'm unmuting him. Can you raise your hand so that we can see on your top?
Yeah, Mr. Suresh.
Suresh? Yes, Suresh. One second. Mr. Suresh, now you can unmute your mic and you can speak with us, sir.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, please.
Sir, we have done exports, as I mentioned.
Yes.
At that time, we were supposed to pay GST, and at the end of the month, when the in amount is received, we are supposed to do the refund filing. We did it meticulously for 12 months. By the
Right.
time the rule changed, and then on, zero GST was come into play. So we need not pay after that. We did not pay after that. But after that, all even though the records are there digitally, we never got the refund. And when we approached the regional office, the concerned circle, they said, you need to file this in paper over and above what is available in the system. That is what I narrated. We did that, but during pandemic, they never acknowledged. And subsequently, they are saying all the officers got transferred. So whoever was handling your case is no more there. And as on date, we have not received. Famous Kerala is famous for not giving refunds. Government.
No.
Government
Let us not generalize it, sir. Maybe your experience is bad. Very sorry for that. But the thing is that if you have got the digital records that you have filed the refund for those months and all, then with those records that we can certainly fight your case.
Sir, how to fight is the question. Is it a legal procedure?
No. I need to see the documents. Without seeing the document, what is the kind of an evidence that you have on hand? How that you have made your submissions? All that and all, if we are not able to see, no, I cannot comment in vacuum.
I fully agree with you, sir. Your presentation is, I am hearing your presentation to understand what is the procedure.
Yeah.
What is the escalation?
See, the procedure or escalation depends on the case only, because there is no general procedure. If there is an order, there is an appellate mechanism. When there is no order at all, then there is no mechanism. And when there is an acknowledgement, definitely there is an escalation internally in the department. So when your refund is not processed within 60 days by the jurisdictional officer, certainly the higher level officer will get the escalation automatically in the system itself that some refund is pending for beyond 60 days. There is a mandatory 6% penalty. So the officer is sleeping on it. Hence, you have to wake him up.
Sir, one more submission. I have approached the IT Secretary of Kerala. He was also in charge of tax at that point in time. He himself intervened and nothing happened. I'm only updating you the status.
No. It can, but the thing is that, see, all these secretaries and all that, no, at a higher level, they may not be understanding how the system functions. So it's not going to resolve. Maybe that you have got a reach, hence the IT secretary took pains at least to put a word with the tax authorities and all. But my suggestion to you is that you better go to a consultant. And then you should share all the documents that you have in hand. then the issue can be studied properly. And then what is the facts that you have in your favor? Or with all those things, we can escalate to the right mechanism. Are you with SGST authorities or CGST authorities, by the way?
I think it is SGST.
Okay, SGST is slightly difficult, but yes, something doable. With the CGST
Sir,
authorities,
that
maybe
was
the
statement I
understanding will
made.
be better.
That was a statement I made, but you did not agree that we are very notorious for non-refunds.
I don't want to
Because of the state's position, you all know. I mean, I'm in a forum. I mean, it's not fair on my part to generalize.
Exactly.
But I'm
Yeah.
telling the state is known for there is no fund in the state. That is a problem.
But it has got nothing to do with the state funds and all that, sir. It is a wrong apprehension
Sir, I
that
think it's a
people are
wrong
carrying.
debate. I'm not discussing further. But
Yeah.
sitting in Kerala, I know better. I don't know whether you are from Kerala. But
I'm not,
Kerala
but
running
I
business in
do
Kerala, I
deal
know
with the
better what
cases
is the
at
government
pan
doing.
India. No. The thing is that whatever is the refund and all, that the government never thinks that it is their own money. Because when the
Technically,
submission
you are
is
right,
there
sir.
at the end of the month,
Sir,
immediately that particular money will be kept aside.
Sir, one more point. Subsequently, last year, they say the same documents what we filed or same period, they raised a fine of 17 lakhs against us, saying that we did not do it properly.
Sir,
And we have filed a...
you have gone to any high court?
I think Mr. Suresh, you are on mute.
Hello?
Suresh, Mr.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Suresh.
Now I can hear you, sir.
Not, I didn't do anything.
No. Have you filed any case in the high court?
So far, no, sir. That's what I was asking you. Is it ideal to file or should we wait
Only after scrutinizing your documents and what is the exact facts on record, that I can suggest you the way forward. So if you are willing to share those documents, I don't mind, sir. My credentials will be shared with you, that you can approach.
Yeah, okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr.
And then
Suresh. And another question
yeah,
is from Karthikeyan KJ, sir.
have a case where we have not received the BRC even after 2 years, which is a mandatory document for filing refund applications. Suppose we receive BRC now after 2 years, are we good to file and receive the refund? Will there be any time restriction? Karthikeyan, again, it is a very specific scenario what we are bringing to the fore, because if you have not received the BRC, what is the reason? Have you received the funds and BRC is not generated, or you did not receive the forex?
Mr. Karthikeyan, are you online? If you want to ask the question directly with the sir, you can raise your hand. Mr. Karthikeyan, are you online? Or type in the chat box.
No, it would be better if he comes online. Karthikeyan is there in the audience, but I don't know whether he is able to hear or not.
Mr. Karthikeyan, I have given you permission to talk. You can unmute yourself and talk. I think he's unable to talk, so.
Okay, no problem, sir. So we deem that this is answered, because see, the problem is that if they have not received the forex, that's a separate case that you have to go by the RBI guidelines, wherein that extension of time limit can be sought through with the help of the authorized banker. But if they have got the funds, but because of some technical reason, if the BRC is not getting generated, then they should certainly find out what is the exact reason for it and approach their AD banker or the DGFT in order to file the EBRC. And second thing is, now recently, I think 15 days ago, DGFT has come out with another option wherein bulk upload of the EBRC is also possible. So that also can be explored by them. So it is up to them, but there are ways in which it can be handled. There is another query, that is there any document notified by the CBIC or RBA for export of services like we have for goods? Nishikandi, you are referring to some document, but you did not mention what is the document that you are thinking that it has been prescribed by the CBIC or RBI for export of goods. If you are referring to something called a shipping bill, then it is a customs document. Yes, it is meant for export of goods, but no such kind of a document is prescribed under the law for the export of services. Your invoice is good enough. Yeah, you are referring to the shipping bill only that I could guess it, and you have confirmed it. But the thing is that there is no such document as far as export of services is concerned. Your invoice is good enough. But what is important, most important for us is the agreement and then the forex receipts. These are the important things that you have to show it as an evidence in support of your claim that you have exported some services. So these are the only things, but there is nothing called a shipping bill kind of a document for export of services. I think I have answered all the questions raised so far, but there is somebody who had raised his hand. I do not know if he is having any query to ask. That I am open. That
Ramananda Shettigar,
yeah.
do you want to talk with sir? You can just type in the chat box so that I can enable you to talk with the sir. Mr. Ramananda Shettigar, are you online? I think he is unable to talk, sir.
Okay, no problem.
Audience,
Any
if
other
anyone-
questions? Any other participants have? In fact, that I have shortened my presentation only to facilitate so that I can take more queries. That I thought that when we have discussed about export of goods and all, that yes, there was a lively discussion with the participants that you have come up with several kinds of queries and all that. So if the partially the goods have gone, then how to go about it? When the full consideration is not received, what to do? Things like that. But I'm not seeing any such kind of an enthusiasm, though all the participants are there right from the start of the session till now. It is almost 1 hour for us. But I'm not getting many queries. There can be two reasons for it. Either that you have fully understood and you know the topic, but still that you wanted to know that is there anything beyond your knowledge that you wanted to know, or otherwise that I did not make an effective presentation to you wherein that you did not get any doubts.
I think everyone are participating well in the poll, sir. They understood the concept. I think they are unable to talk now.
Unable to means is there any technical difficulty or from our end that
No,
there is
sir.
anything? Because
No, sir. I think
one,
someone.
we should be interactive and utilize this time to discuss. So the stage is open now that any other GST related or foreign trade related queries also I am open. I can ask.
Mr. Nagesh Pentiala was raised the hand, sir.
Yeah, please.
Nageshwar, you can unmute yourself and talk.
Yeah, sir, Akella sir, very good evening.
Good
And
evening.
Pawan sir also very good evening.
Good
I
evening,
really
Nagesh.
appreciating your session, sir, because I think this was my fourth session or fifth session attending. The
Good,
thing
sir.
is, sir, Akella sir, you don't feel that people are not questioning. Why my feeling is, I want to let you know my feeling.
Yeah.
Okay, because this export of services, many people don't do in their routine life, sir.
Correct.
The
I agree.
normal
I agree.
GST return, GSTR1 on that on the LUT refunds and all, many people they will do in their routine life. This
Correct.
export of service, no, sir. Only particular people only handle this. So
Yeah,
what
I
feel,
know it.
no?
It is a niche area that not many people will be conversant.
Yeah. And also, this was the newly we are listening from you. Okay.
Okay.
And also, see, whenever what I feel, whenever we do in practical, then only we will get more doubts. Correct, sir?
Yeah.
So, yeah, yes, I hope that your communication, your this meetings and all is very good.
Thank you.
But the doubts asking me,
No,
as I,
no. See, now that I have opened the floor, not only
yeah,
to
yeah,
limit yourself to the topic that I have discussed,
yeah, yeah,
any other GST queries or foreign trade policy or anything to do with indirect taxes that we can do
yeah, yeah.
a freewheeling,
Yeah,
not an issue.
appreciated, sir. Appreciated.
Yeah.
Your intention is. Yeah,
Nagesh, sir,
sir.
if you want to
Yeah.
suggest any topics that you are practically using in your organization, you can
As
suggest
of now,
so that.
earlier I have issues with RCM and refunds and all.
Okay.
So that time I have communicated with through this channel only. I have communicated with Akela sir.
Okay.
I
Okay.
have got resolved that RCM issues and refund issues.
Thank you.
Okay.
As
Good to
of
know
now,
that.
there was no particular new issues, sir.
So
Because
what Pawan is intending is that for the forthcoming webinars, so what will be the topic of interest to the participants? That is what that he wanted to know. If
Yes.
you
okay,
have got any specific topic to be covered for the
yeah,
benefit of majority of the people here, that we will be glad to do so. Because what is our intention is what is going to be useful for your day-to-day life. Because
yeah,
not everybody will be having access to a big four consultants and all and to listen to the verbose presentations. So we want to make it simple. So what best will be the topic is what he is trying to understand.
yeah. Awesome, sir. Awesome. Yes, sir. Will let you know from my side. If I thought of any topic is left, I will definitely let you know, sir.
Yeah, please.
Thank
Yeah,
you. Thank you,
simply
And one
Nagesh.
Mr. Gajendra
appreciating
Kumar,
your this thing, sir. Intention. Thanks, sir.
thank you. One Mr. Gajendra Kumar is now asking refund related to FY 17-18 is allowable now by the department. Definitely not, sir. No. I told you the time limit is 2 years from the relevant date. So the relevant date has already elapsed for the 17-18 period. You cannot do that.
Also, audience, I will be regularly communicating with you through emails, and I will be sending you post-webinar mail. If anyone have any idea about your day-to-day life which you are using, you can suggest me some topics so that we can plan for the next webinar.
Suresh sir, my mail ID that I am giving it right away here, that you can take it down, sir. Of course, that Pavan is also going to share the details. Even mobile number also, I am typing it here.
Okay, it will also be included in the post-webinar mail as well, Mr. Suresh.
Hope you have received it.
Not yet, sir. Did you post it in webinar chat, sir?
In the Q&A box only that I have posted it.
Okay, okay, sir.
Yeah, he received it. So,
Also, yes, sir.
if any other participants have got any queries, I don't know, will it get copied? I think so, sir. You can try. Yeah.
Okay, audience, all the sessions are recorded. The previous ones, if anyone wants to check the previous sessions, which are basics from GST to we have covered all the series. Those we can find in the YouTube channel. Also, I will provide you in the post webinar mail that I will be creating, including this webinar as well. And I
Yeah.
will be sending you one survey form so that we can understand what is the specific topic that you are interested in. By that, we can plan for the next webinar. Thank you, audience.
And one more thing that there are certain articles on the GST also, which are available in the WebSolve portal.
Yes.
So you can refer to those articles also. And some of them were written by me also in that, along with other esteemed writers. So one can refer to those articles also. And somebody is asking that any guidelines to claim refund on supplies to STPI. Unfortunately, sir, STPI are deemed as an EOU. So you got to see that the same guidelines will be applicable here also. So you need to see that whether you are fulfilling those conditions, like getting the procurement certificate and then making a supply. Then in such a scenario, whether you are observing all those points or not, if you have complied with all of them, yes, that you can do that. You can claim the refund. Yeah, I hope that I have answered all the queries from the participants, and I'm not seeing any new questions that are coming up. And I sincerely thank all the participants for sparing their valuable time today on this session. The session where the PPT is going to be shared by WebSol team to all of you, and my credentials also will be there. If anybody wants any kind of a queries and the resolution thereof, that they are open, that they can reach out to me. Thank you from my end.
Thank you, audience. You will be receiving a post-webinar mailer including all these webinar creatives and webinar PPT, everything. Thank you all.